So we have the wonderful, it's Colleen, right? I always say Colleen. Colleen. I'll have to remember that.
Fine.
Colleen Bauer, who is a wedding planner based in Bakersfield, California, right? And Colleen runs the name of her company is A Bride's Fairy Godmother. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Colleen does. And I want this to be an inspiration for anyone who's thinking that they cannot do this, because Colleen's going to share with us how she runs her business and hopefully share a few inside tricks and tips to help those of us who are a little wary, who aren't quite sure if this is what they want to do or how to move forward. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. So hi, Colleen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, I sort of gave an intro about your business. Is there a better way for you to describe it than I did? Could you tell us a little bit more, like how you got started?
I actually didn't set out to be a wedding coordinator or a wedding planner. I have done events and weddings and things for a very long time, and it was from a conference at a couple of vendors that said, you really should be doing this. And I said, I've got a great job, I love what I do, I work for a bank full time. And they said, just do day of. And I thought, well, okay, what is a day of coordinator? And so I did a little homework and spent about 4 or 5 months looking at who's the competition, what do the day of coordinators do in the different areas in our bigger cities, how do they handle the business. And then what I actually did, Debbie, is that I did a friend's wedding. I called her, she was getting married, and I said, I want to coordinate your wedding. I'm not going to charge you, I want to do it for free. I want to know, am I good at it? Do I like it? I want to get your thoughts. And after that first wedding, I was hooked. It was easy.
Really?
I loved it, and the feedback was really good. And I sat down with her, and she really was very, very helpful, because I asked her. I thought, who better to ask than the bride? And I asked. Her name is Megan, and I asked Megan. I said, tell me, how did you hear about your flower system? How did you, all the vendors, I asked her how she heard about them, where she heard, and that really helped me to kind of launch where I was going to start.
Wonderful, wonderful. So prior to planning Megan's wedding, how much involvement did you have with weddings? I mean, how did you know what to do? How did you know where to begin with the planning process?
I had my own wedding, and then there's 4 girls in our family, so 2 of my other sisters also got married. And then I had several friends that had been married. So other than just either being in a wedding or being part of a wedding, I had never planned a wedding.
Okay.
So, my first wedding with Megan, I felt like, okay, my job is going to be to, stick very close to her and to follow a timeline with her and to work with the vendors. And so it was trial by error. I mean, I really, just kind of learned as I went. And just, I think if you are a natural at it, you'll pick it up very quickly. And you'll know what needs to be done. You just continue to improve. And I mean, even now, 3 years later, I still learn things. I still go to a wedding, and after every wedding, we come back and we write down, okay, what could we have done differently? What well, and what value do we add? We always look at
Excellent.
That.
Okay.
So
now you're saying we. So how many? It's not just you planning now, huh?
So there's 5 coordinators on the team, and then we have 5 assistants. Every wedding comes with a second coordinator.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
5 coordinators and 5 assistants.
Yep.
So they don't all work the same wedding together?
Right. Each coordinator works her own wedding, and what happens is all the weddings come into my phone number, and then I kind of pre-interview the bride a little bit to find out what the style is, and then, of course, I look at we have a kind of a master calendar when everybody's available. So what the other coordinators do is they'll tell me what dates are good for them, what dates are not good for them. So I'll look at that calendar, I look at the personality, and then I match him up with the right coordinator. And I'll explain to the bride that, Leticia would be the one I would recommend for you, or Denise would be the one I would recommend for you. Are you okay with me giving, your information to her? And they always say yes. And immediately I call the coordinator. And our rule is to turn around and call that bride back within 2 hours if at all possible. So that it's quick, just getting a quick response. Okay. So then I kind of back away, because I feel like the bride really needs to make that, the relationship needs to be with her and the coordinator. And so that coordinator then steps in, and then they take over from there. And then, so all the coordinators will book their weddings, and then we fill the assistants in based on their schedule.
Okay, wonderful. So what we're talking about right now, is that primarily just the day of or day of plan? Okay.
Only, of the 5 of us, only 2 of us do full-fledged planning.
Okay. Are you one of those 2?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So how did you find these folks who are your coordinators? Are these people who have their own wedding business, or just they just have a desire to plan weddings? How did you make that connection?
Really, the first coordinator that we brought on was a really good friend of mine that had done events with me for a really long time at the bank where I worked. And so what happened is I did my first wedding, I did my second wedding, and my third wedding was a big wedding. There was 300 people, and the mother said, well, I want a fairy godmother here, and then I want a fairy godmother at my home at the reception site. And I said, sure, no problem. I got in the car, and I called Denise and said, I hope you're not busy because I just booked for a wedding.
Because I've already kind of decided you're going to be there, right?
She said, I'd love to, let's do it, and she's been with me ever since. So,
wonderful.
And then the others, they found me. Through Facebook or word of mouth, and we've got a pretty good process now when the coordinators are coming in. You know, we bring them in and kind of have them in like a probationary period, and they're kind of interns for a while, and then from there they become assistants. So they really don't become a full-fledged coordinator until they've been with us for a little while. And when they're assistants, they don't really hear anything about the business. We don't share anything. They don't come to the big meetings. They really just come for the 4 hours that we need them there for when the wedding's really busy.
Okay. So that's I was going to ask that. What? Hold on a moment.
We have them there, Denise, an hour before the wedding actually starts for the ceremony, and then we have them 3 hours after, because that's your real busy time. And we, as a team, we've decided that the assistants are responsible for the vendors and responsible for the guests. And then the lead coordinator is responsible for the bridal party and the bride and the family. So that's how we do that.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. So they're very definite roles for coordinator versus assistant, and the goal is that the assistant at some point will become a coordinator. If they choose to, right?
Choose to. Sometimes they come in and they just want to be part of the weddings, and they just want to work part-time, and we'll get people, and we even have an intern section on our website now because we've had so many requests that I felt like, okay, I need to put something on there so people know, kind of how we handle it. And the assistants, like I said, sometimes they just want to stay and they just want to work part-time. I always tell them when they come in that, when you're first coming on board, this is not going to put dinner on the table. If you're looking for that type of, position, this is not it, because you have to start, from the ground and build your way up.
Right.
But it's a great opportunity for them. But I'm very upfront with them. I tell them, this is how it works. You might work 2 hours this month, and then next month you might work 20 hours.
Okay.
So, and we try and give them their schedule pretty far in advance so they can plan their life too.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. So is there any training prior to the actual wedding day that you do? How do you prep someone who maybe hasn't worked with your company before?
Well, first of all, we sit down with them and we kind of have it's kind of like a playbook where we talk to them a little bit about what our philosophy is, and we have a little saying, the fairy godmother, that we bring the fairy tale feeling to everybody you come in contact with. And so we want to make sure the assistants immediately know that everybody they come in contact with, whether it's the waitress or the waiter or the busboy or, the grandfather or the grandmother, everybody should feel like they've been taken care of by fairy godmother.
Excellent.
And we do quite a bit of kind of screening before we even bring them in. We ask for references, we check the references. Almost every single one of them has a Facebook page. I look through their Facebook page. I look at, back ends and comments, and because you get a really good feel for people on Facebook.
That's right.
And it's true what people say, that employers do look at Facebook. And so we get a lot from that. And then I sit with them, and sometimes, many times you can just tell. And then before we bring them in, they'll sit with me, and I usually sit with 1 or 2 other coordinators. And between us as a group, we usually have a pretty good feel for who's doing work and who isn't. Okay. And then they will shadow another assistant coordinator for 2 to 3 weddings, and that's kind of their internship. And is
that paid? Do they get paid for that, or
they
get paid for that? Mm-hmm.
But we let them know that, the 3 or 4 weddings, sometimes it's 3 weddings, sometimes it's 2, but a minimum of 3 weddings, that they have to work those 3 weddings before we'll put them on as a true, full-fledged assistant. And you can tell, Denise, the first wedding, you can tell if they're going to make it. Because they have to be very proactive. They have to be able to look beyond just getting direction from us. If I tell them, if you see a guest that's walking in with free gifts, and doesn't know where the gifts go, that's your job. But they should automatically know that without me having to say to them, go grab that gift.
Right, right. That instinct should be there.
Yeah, it should just be there.